up, Cowboy fans and YouTubers? Is that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you? Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting down below. I make these videos for me and you, and they're a little therapeutic, you know? Because we're finally going to get some closure on this whole Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper saga in one way or another, because tonight at 11:59, the CBA votes will be in. The players got to do it electronically since the whole COVID-19 thing has been going around. So it's great that they can vote electronically. So we'll just have to see what they come up with. More than likely, it'll pass. The new NFLPA president is for it. And more than likely, he's thinking about the players on the bottom rung of the totem pole, and that they need money. They need stability. These guys at the top can talk about all the stuff excuse me, that they can do to help, but until they put it in practice, there's not a lot that they can really do. So these players are like, you know, I'm only making a certain amount, even though the CBA is going to bump it up 100,000 or something like that. But still, I need sustenance, especially in the off months. Now, I'm old school. I was around when football players got off-season jobs and they did stuff on the side, you know. They didn't really have these big multi-million-dollar incomes and sponsors and all that fun stuff like that, to where they can just not work during the off season. Nowadays, some guys can and some guys can't. But we'll have to see what the majority is. I know after the last pushback on the date, there were a lot of players who asked the NFLPA if they could change their votes, and the NFLPA actually denied them the chance to change their votes. So it's going to be kind of weird wondering if those votes were for yes or for no after it's done, because we don't know if those guys were trying to switch it to the other side or not. So it's going to be a little controversy with that. But by tonight, we should know. Thank God, finally, we'll know if we have one tag or two tags to use. We already know who the franchise tag is more than likely going to be put on. So Monday by 11:59 a.m., we should know Dak's price tag really for the year. We're going to know if you can lock down Amari Cooper before he hits free agency. It's going to be a lot moving here in the next few days, even though, you know, the NFL's pretty much shut down mostly everything as far as the not combine, but pro day, draft visits, interviews, stuff like that have been shut down. Facilities have been shut down. But, you know, if they can do anything over a teleconference or the telephone, they will. It's going to be hard for a lot of guys to get that feel of these new draftees, because they're so used to having them come in, get physicals, running them through a quick little workout, and sitting down face to face to get a gauge on these kids. Now all you're really going to have is the combine, the stats from the combine, the measurements from the combine, the best medical evaluation you get from the combine, and hope, and whatever they put down on tape in their college years. So it's going to be very different. I mean, right now it's not going to affect the season, because by September, hopefully this thing will be gone, or, you know, contained. But we'll have to see. But yeah, in the next couple of days, I'm sorry, I did an overnight, and then now I'm right back going to work again. It's tiring, but it's worth it. But yeah, by tonight we should know definitely how things stand, how much more money the CBA is going to kick in because Pat Mahomes is going to want to get paid, and Deshaun Watson, like everybody's been talking about. But Kansas City only has like $12 million. So they're trying to jettison players by cutting them, trading them, and getting a little bit of relief right now before they hope the CBA kicks in and gives them some more money. Because there's no way they can afford the Pat Mahomes price tag right now. So we'll have to see. I probably won't be able to get back on here before the deadline. So I'll probably make another video tomorrow on the way to work before, to see how all this windfall takes place. And I'm thinking about trying to live stream Monday before the franchise tag deadline, just to get it out there and do something right before free agency tampering period kicks off. Because once this stuff tonight happens, there's going to be a lot of teams figuring out franchise tags, who they can cut, how much it'll cost them to cut, what they can do after, stuff like that. It's going to be a lot once these players ratify it or not. So we'll know either way by tonight. If you're on the East Coast like me, you'll know same time as I will. If you're on the West Coast, you'll know due to sites and notifications and YouTubers. So we're all going to know something. But that's what I got for now. I've seen a lot of talk, of course. As soon as I saw Minnesota letting Linval Joseph and Xavier Rhodes go, that it was only going to be a matter of time before everybody tries to link them to the Cowboys. It's starting to get ridiculous. And these fans of the Cowboys fall for that. Every time a name gets cut from somewhere, they're like, get him. You got to have that guy. You got to take him. You got to trade for him. You got to pick him up, free agency, do something. No, they don't. There's a reason these guys get cut. Because they're not producing somewhere. Why should we waste the money to pick them up if they're not going to do it where they just got cut from? What makes you think they're going to do something at their new place? It doesn't always work it that way. It doesn't always work out. We've done that way too many times, and we basically burned ourselves in the end because these guys never make it out of training camp. They're basically making their reputation and bones about them due to their previous accomplishments. We can't keep hanging our hats on that. We got to start drafting well like we've been doing and picking up bargain free agents where we can to fill the rest of the holes. I mean, it's worked. Since 2016 with the Zeke Elliott and Dak Prescott draft, we've been doing pretty well as far as whole rounds instead of just the first round picks. And you look at it, we've done so well. Now it's starting to kick back at us as far as the money goes because all these guys panned out. They did great for their draft capital. Who knew? That's why the Cowboys are in the predicament they are, because they actually drafted well. So that means these draftees all come up for contracts at the same time. Unless you get like Zeke, who had another year option on it, but they decided to just pay him outright because you can absorb the rest of his option years and stuff on the new contract. You couldn't do that with Dak because it was a fourth rounder. A lot of these guys in the later rounds got their little bonuses and everything for performance, but they're all coming up at the same time, and you're like, well, shucks. Now what do I do when I actually drafted well? I got to pay all these guys. I don't know if the Cowboys ever thought about that. They always think, the first round prospects and maybe the second round guys are going to get a second contract, but oh my God, what do you do when the first round pick pans out? The Jalen Smith pans out, Dak Prescott pans out, and Xavier Woods pans out. Like, all these guys are starting to hit. Anthony Brown, all these guys in that draft. And you're like, oh crap, what do we do? And now that their contracts are coming in, we're going to have to actually pay all these guys. And y'all acting, penny pinching. you're going to shoot yourselves in the foot and you got to let somebody like Byron Jones go. I get it. He's not the best with his hands as far as interceptions and turnovers, but he can lock a player down. That's why he's considered one of the better corners in the league, because that's what he can do for you. He can lock down one side of the field at least, even if he's not turning the ball over. I was just watching some of the 2016 Dallas and Pittsburgh game to get a feel. And most of the players, of course, are the same. Differences being, Dez Bryant's in there instead of Amari Cooper. Terrence Williams in there instead of Michael Gallup. Still got Dak, still got the line. Let's see, 2016. I think Ronald Leary, if I'm not mistaken, was on that team. I'm trying to think. I think that was the last year Ronald Leary was on the line. Doug Free. And you had Zeke, of course. And then the defense, you didn't have Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch doing their thing, but you had pretty much all the rest of the guys. The defensive line has been a mess for a while, but it's almost the same production. Tank Lawrence and everything. But you could see Byron Jones, he was doing his thing and locking down his half of the field against Antonio Brown when he was on top of his game. There were some times when the balls were right at him or right at Xavier Woods, and they were in position to pick it off, and they just couldn't bring it in. And that's what's upsetting, because I think I watched it up to the end or close to the end of the third quarter, and you could just see that they had dropped, I think Byron Jones dropped one, Xavier Woods dropped two. I mean, the ball placement kind of had a hand in it. They were overthrown and they were backpedaling to it, but they were close to being out of bounds anyway, so it might not have stuck. But you can see 3 interceptions at least being dropped right through their hands. There was a play, the other play, the fumble recovery. Byron Jones had a chance to pick up the ball, take it to the house. If not, just to land on the ball and get it back for his team. Instead, he wanted to pick it up and run with it, and he ended up trying to scoop and score, but the ball kept bouncing around. He fumbling it around in his hands, and he dropped it out of bounds, and it went back to the Steelers. And that's the problem we have, is that y'all have chances in your careers to make some noise, and y'all just fumble it away. So that's the thing about Byron. They love him. He's a great leader on the defense. He does his job, but he can't get those takeaways that we want. If you couldn't pick the ball up to score, just fall on the ball. Get the ball back to your offense. I mean, we still won the game, but you gave Pittsburgh another shot because you fumbled it back out of bounds to them. But I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent and rant. But 11:59 tonight, we'll know what's going on with the CBA, if not a little bit after. And that's what we got for today. Hope y'all wash your hands, stay hygienic, take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you. Try not to overthink this, but stay safe at the same time. Talk to y'all later, all right? Stay safe out there. Peace.